No official NFL Combine this year of 2021, but most seasons the Alabama Crimson Tide kind of fill their own combine, and thus is the case this year going into, again, the 21 NFL season. At last count, Alabama led the NFL rosters with 56 players, currently pros, just ahead of Ohio State. We got Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama on the line here at the Voice of College Football. Stephen, how are we doing today?
Doing fantastic, Mark. How are you?
Doing just fine. Of course, pro day at Alabama, of course, again, a big deal. Tons of high prospects and broadcast on the NFL Network, I believe. Based on what you gathered, what were the big standout moments?
The big standout moments came from two people in particular, Mark. Mac Jones at quarterback had a really strong day, and Patrick Surtain II, the corner, has people buzzing throughout Tuscaloosa with the numbers and measurables that he put up. Just going with Mac Jones first and foremost. People, he's more of an athlete than what people give him credit for. His measurables really stood out today. Mac Jones coming in here at 6'2", 217 pounds in the weigh-in. His 40 time. A lot of people had him projected to run, 4.840. He ran official times of 4.68 and 4.72. I mean, the man was moving. Mac Jones moving in the 40-yard dash, so that kind of caught people by surprise. He had a 32-inch vertical. A lot of people did not see him or project him jumping in that range. So 32-inch vertical. Had nearly a 10-foot broad jump. That was really successful also. And then when they got him on the field for the throwing drills, he had 40 passes that he worked through in a timing, quick-paced manner, hit on all balls but one, had one overthrow, but he was able to show the pro teams that he can throw on the run, he can bootleg out, he can maneuver through pressure, he can shuffle his feet, and had accurate balls to the players he was throwing to, that being Slade Bolden, Xavier Williams, Miller Forrestall, Carl Tucker, and Joshua McMillan as well. Did not throw to Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, seeing how both of those two did not participate in the first pro day on today. But then you look at Patrick Surtain. He looks like an outside linebacker now. He's put on more muscle, and the young man, a 4.42 unofficial 40, but an official 40 of 4.46. So picking it up, putting them down, was Patrick Surtain, a 39-inch vertical, a 10-foot 1-inch broad jump, and he put in 18 reps of 225 on the bench. A lot of people, they project the number for DBs on the bench to average, 10 to 12 reps of that 225. So for Surtain to put in 18 reps, big number for him, big day for him. When they got him on the on-field drills, he looked smooth, he looked fluid, the hip motions were good, the quick feet, really did a great job breaking on the football. So Surtain and Mac Jones, the big marks there from Pro Day. But Christian Barmore had a good 40 time. The defensive lineman put it down at 4.93. That was a strong time for him. Alex Leatherwood at 6'6", 310-pound offensive lineman, had a 34.5-inch vert, and I did not even see that coming from him. So 34.5-inch vert there from one Alex Leatherwood, big numbers from him. So a couple of guys really showcasing the skill set today, but the big numbers coming from Mac Jones at quarterback and Patrick Surtain II at corner.
You highlight Surtain on the bench press at 225 at 18 reps. By comparison, Joshua McMillan at linebacker at 236 pounds, weighing about 30 pounds heavier than Surtain, throwing up 13 reps at 225. So that just underlines Patrick Surtain's impressive showing on the bench press. So as we look across the board of who participated today and look ahead to their NFL careers in this rookie season, is there anybody that jumps out to you that might turn out to be a better pro than maybe the scouts anticipate that you really like?
I think the guy that could turn out to be the much better pro here, Mark, and I go back to Christian Barmore. I feel like he only had one full year as a starter, which was this past season, 2019. He played somebody who was kind of a rotationary piece, but the guy at 6'4", 310, You see the speed, you see the burst, you see the quickness, you see his ability to affect the quarterback. And the 2 years that he got a lot of field time, a lot of action, we're looking at 15.5 tackles for loss and 10 sacks. 8 of those 10 sacks coming from the 2020 campaign. So while he did not get a whole bunch of time at Alabama, I feel like that's a good thing because he doesn't have a lot of that wear and tear on his body. So I look at once if he makes this transition to the pro game, the National Football League, he will be a much better pro. Really excited to see what Christian Barmore does in the future.
Yeah, it's Stephen M. Smith on the line from touchdownalabama.com. Please join him, the rest of the staff there. Again, touchdownalabama.com, and his live stream call-in show that he brings us. How often is that per week, Stephen?
3 days a week there, Mark. Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
There it is. I've checked it out many times. Stephen doing a fine job, as you would expect, fielding Alabama football talk and questions from around the SEC. The Tide's been on the spring practice field for a few days now. Does Nick Saban hold a news conference after every spring practice, or is that just several times per week?
He kind of spaces them out there, Mark. He had his first presser on Friday of last week to in the first day of practice. He did not speak on Monday, which was yesterday. He let the players speak on Monday. So Coach Saban, he kind of keeps his spaced out.
Oh, okay. So basically, what have been the highlights of his review of the team's first initial practices?
He was very complimentary of one Bryce Young at quarterback, Mark. He came out after Friday's practice and talked about the development of the sophomore, the former 5-star from California, getting a lot better, throwing the football, making the right reads, the right progressions. He is getting better at that quarterback position. So he raved about Bryce Young. He's very excited about the coaching staff, the on-field staff that he has assembled together, starting off for the upcoming season. Happy about what Bill O'Brien's doing as the offensive coordinator. He loves what Doug Marrone is doing as the offensive line coach, what Robert Gillespie's doing as the new running backs coach. That position group really excited about him. You bring in Jay Valai to coach the defensive back, cornerbacks in particular. You got Jay Graham coaching tight ends and working with special teams. So Coach Saban really lit up when talking about this coaching staff. He is very excited about what this group of leaders can do and will do as Alabama is trying to repeat as the national champions of college football in the upcoming season. But he talked about Bryce Young. He talked about the coaching staff. And he mentioned for Alabama getting into some new wrinkles here, on defense, finding ways to be even better or to be better on that defensive side of the ball. I know down the stretch, Alabama made huge improvements on that side of the area right there. The Crimson Tide giving up just a little bit over 19 points a game, which led the SEC. But as you and I both know, Mark, even though you may lead the SEC in the category, the Bama fans are like, well, if we're not shutting teams out, what are we doing? They still have to understand the game is changing. The game is changing. Things are more so going toward the offensive side of things. But Saban also did talk about some ways that he's going to have this group be even more so keen on the defensive side of the ball. But he was very happy and pleased for the most part, day one, what he saw energy-wise from the team that first day of practice.
The voice of college football breaking down Bama. We do so with the help, of course, front and center from Stephen M. Smith of touchdownalabama.com. And Stephen, I'm going to serve up this question. When you look at the roster and look at the players, and Ben Davis comes to mind as a guy who it just never really happened for him at Alabama. Now he moves on and hopefully he can salvage his playing career. Came in as a 5-star. It doesn't necessarily have to be that type of talent coming into the program as a 5-star, but anybody that you really think that it's a bit of a make or break camp for, some guys that maybe have not been able to break through with a lot of playing time or a starting status, but have that opportunity?
There's definitely a few guys that come to mind with that question mark. And first and foremost, I go back on defense, and then in the secondary, where we pick up Jagan Armour Davis, the corner out of Mobile, Alabama. He went to St. Paul's Episcopal High School. He came in that 2018 class as a 4-star. with Patrick Surtain and Josh Jobe. And Saban was more excited about Armour Davis at that time than Surtain and Jobe, just due to Armour Davis was 6'2", 196 pounds, give or take right there. But big size, big length, athleticism, speed, quickness, ball skills, instincts. Saban really liked what Armour Davis brought to the table. Unfortunately, the young man got hurt, whether it was in spring ball or summer workouts in the 2018 season, so did not play that year with a serious knee injury. And when you don't play, you have other recruiting classes piled on top of you. So now Armour Davis has to deal with the 2019 class on top of him, the 2020 class on top of him, and now the 2021 group that's on top of him, as of right now. But he has found a way to dig himself up. Right now, he is starting opposite Josh Jobe at corner. So this is a huge camp here for Armour Davis. If he wants to grab a starting spot at that cornerback position, it's now or never for him. When you go to the offensive side of the ball, therein lies Xavier Williams at wide receiver. And it's kind of the same thing. He came in 2018 with Jalen Waddle and Clay Bolden, Williams from Hollywood, Florida. And, Williams at 6'1", 195 pounds. He brought in a lot of size, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism, but just could not seem to break through the force field when Alabama had Judy and Ruggs and Smith and Waddle all together at the same time. Just could not quite break his way through. So now finally this spring, he's having that breakout moment, and he is starting along with Slade Bolden and John Mechie. Well, Mechie's limited this spring, but so Slade Bolden and Javon Baker at the receiver position. And this is a big year for Xavier Williams to finally get it done and hone in his spot. So those will be the two guys, Xavier Williams and Jalen Armour Davis, to where it's a make it or break it camp, just due to they both came in highly recruited and highly talented. It's just whether it was injuries or didn't quite break through initially, they've had other players piled on top of them from different classes. So now here's the moment where they got to make their move.
Williams with 3 catches last year for 24 yards. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, because if you enjoy the discussion, debate, and analysis here at the Voice of College Football with guests like Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama, others will as well. So please share the videos out on social media. And of course, subscribe. Hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. Your thoughts about Trey Sanders, and we talk about a big talent coming from the high school ranks. Where do you think he fits into this offense and the competition for carries?
He fits in strongly here, Mark. And he's been doing a fantastic job rehabbing from the injuries he suffered in the car accident he was involved in last season. He made it to the anti-gravity treadmill. Now he's back on the field. According to Nick Saban, he's been able to do some dry running now. He's not fully back at 100%, but he has been doing some individual drills at Alabama spring practice, whether it be footwork drills, agility drills, working with his hips, flipping his hips, just doing different things to get him back acclimated to the field. And as scary as it is, Mark, he looks good out there now. He looks good doing those individual workouts, those individual drills. Now, I don't see Coach Saban pushing him much this spring, but in terms of the ball, he is a guy that will look to grab some carries from a Brian Robinson, from a Keelan Robinson, even from a Jace McClellan, because with Trey, not only does he give you the power and the vision, but he gives you the speed. He gives you the pass catching ability out of the backfield. He gives you so much of a unique combination that you want to have that on the field. I go back to when he played last season against Mississippi State, and he had the 12 carries for 80 yards. A lot of fans got very excited because they felt like now he's about to really turn it on. And unfortunately, he was involved in the car accident, had the hip issue, which forced him to miss the remainder of the season. So the moment where you're about to really get excited for him, the pin gets popped in the balloon and all the air lets out. So now he has been doing extremely well in the rehab process. As I mentioned, he's back on the practice field doing individual things. And just the hope is that he can shake himself away completely from the injury bug because he brings a lot to that running back room.
Trey Sanders, 30 carries for $134 at 4.5 yards per carry overall in 2020. Stephen, I get hit with this question basically every day. So I'm sure you get hit with it 10 times per day. Some people look at this Alabama offense and see the personnel losses from what could be the best offense in the history of college football, certainly one of the best. And they say there's just no way that they can replace those guys. There's going to be a letdown. The defense is going to have to lead them. There's going to be a letdown. Other people on the other side of the argument say, you know what? It's Alabama. Bryce Young's got all this time to prepare. He's already got his feet wet a little bit with some playing time and a few reps last season. He could be a generational type talent with the weapons coming in, with John Mechie leading the wide receiver core, the waves of running backs, the whole deal. It's just, we've seen it before. These personnel losses get replaced, and they're just going to keep on humming. Where do you think we stand on your projection of where this offense is going to be versus a legendary group in 2020?
As hard as it is, and as hard as it will be, Mark, to replace the guys like a Mac Jones, a Najee Harris, a Devontae Smith, a Jalen Waddle, and then three guys on the offensive line with Dickerson, Leatherwood, and Deontay Brown. As tough as it is going to be, and that it will be, I look at this Alabama team and I go, the talent that come in the last two classes, 2020 and 2021, and the veterans back on this roster, I still see this group being a strong group offensively. And after the first practice, Brian Robinson spoke to the media, or he spoke to the media on Monday. And he doesn't talk a lot, but just from looking at his face, this is a guy that's very serious about the leadership not being dropped off on this team coming up in the fall offensively. But he's also very serious about the production of this team, not taking a drop off. So he's taking full advantage of guiding the running back room. And then you look at Ben O'Brien in here and his experience coming over from the NFL, working with a Tom Brady, working with a Deshaun Watson. So he's going to put a lot on Bryce Young, a lot on Paul Tyson, a lot on the quarterback room, but they're embracing it. They're absorbing it. They're gearing up for it. And even with losing Smitty and Waddle and how great they were, Mechie caught 55 passes last year for 916 yards, 4 to 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns to his credit. You bring back Slade Bolden, who had 24 catches a season ago. You bring back Xavier Williams, who got time on the field down the stretch of last season. You bring back a Jaleel Billingsley at tight end, who from the Kentucky game to the Ohio State game exploded last season. And then you have, the receivers of Ja'Cory Brooks and Asia Hall and Christian Leary and JoJo Earl in this 2021 class. So it's gotten to a point, Mark, that even though Bama loses pieces, the program, the talent basically runs itself. So it's going to be hard to replace the guys that you have to replace, but I still see the talent that's in here now and the talent that is back as experienced guys. It's going to be hard to stop this offense next season.
You know who's hard to replace? It's Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama. You got to check out.
Stop it, man.
I am telling you, Stephen. I am telling you, Stephen. You have been delivering for us for a long time, and we so much appreciate it. I hope you know that. And everybody, again, head on over to Touchdown Alabama. You can do it, touchdownalabama.com. You can go to YouTube. I just searched it myself just to verify. You can just go Touchdown Alabama right there. You can see Stephen's show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In my own words, again, what time does that stream?
That streams, Mark, from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time.
There it is, 6 to 7. 6 to 7 Central, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. There you go. Great stuff from the man, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama. Stephen, we always appreciate it. You have yourself a great week.
Absolutely, Mark. You guys take care.